The big focus today is on Capitol Hill. We have lawmakers and the White House reaching an agreement on what is expected to be a $2 trillion stimulus package. Senators are expected to get to start voting any minute now on this new relief package. We have Jess Smith of Yahoo Finance. She's standing by in DC with the latest. And Jess, what are some of these details? Because some of them have been emerging. I know we don't have the text of the bill yet, but what do we know at this point?
Yeah, we don't have that official text yet, but there are some details that are starting to emerge. I did want to note that three Republican senators, this is Senator Graham, Sass, and Tim Scott, say that they are going to oppose the fast tracking of this bill because of a massive drafting error, is what they call it. They say this error is incentivizing layoffs and that they are going to oppose it unless that error is fixed. So why that is important is those three senators, if they are saying that they would oppose the fast tracking it, that could delay the process. If there isn't a fix that they're satisfied with, we might not see the Senate vote on this today, but we still have a lot to learn. We don't know exactly what this error is. The senators are set to give a press conference here at 2 o'clock. So in any time now, hopefully we'll learn more details about what they're thinking and what the status of that fix that they're hoping for is. But some of the things that we have learned about the bill itself, it includes direct payments to Americans. It includes $350 billion for small businesses, $500 billion for other industries that are hard hit. We know that there's going to be oversight of that money. There's an IG and a committee that is assigned to look after that. That was something that Democratic lawmakers were really pushing for. We've also learned from Senator Pat Toomey that the employer portion of the payroll tax will be suspended for 2 years. So again, we are still trying to learn more details, and we're waiting to find out on any sort of timing on this vote. We'll be, of course, keep you updated as we learn more throughout the afternoon.
So Rick, as we look at the various provisions that we know about right now, what stands out to you? It is pretty remarkable, the scope of this thing.
It's a huge package. So just for comparison's sake, the big stimulus bill back in 2009 was around $880 billion. So less than half of the amount we're talking here. So I actually think Congress kind of got this right. I rarely say that. I'm very skeptical of almost everything that happens in Washington, but I think they learned from some of the mistakes back in 2008 and 2009. I think it's terrific news that those Inspector General, that it sets up an Inspector General. Really, I think it's going to continue the Inspector General that's actually still there from the 2008 bailouts, but that sounds as if that role will be transitioned over to a watchdog role, making sure, companies that don't deserve the bailouts or should not be getting them don't get them, and that they go for the right things. This is much more targeted at protecting workers, which was a giant flaw of what happened in 2008 and 2009. I think there's one very important cautionary note here, which is this is not going to make a big difference in the next few weeks. So it's going to take time for all of this funding and all the other sorts of aid to flow through to the economy. And it's not going to prevent what are sure to be millions of layoffs in the next weeks and months. But I think it will actually do a lot to help come summer and fall.
Yeah, it was quite interesting that as part of the small business loan provisions, that any of that money used for payroll in particular will be forgiven. That debt will be forgiven. However, to your point, because there's going to be a lag, will a lot of people get laid off before, presumably it's going to take time to get this thing passed, then apply for a loan if you're a small business. And so in the meantime, do you have the cash to pay those people? I think that's going to be a big question. Rick, one of the other things that, admittedly a minor thing in this bill, but again, fairly remarkable that the Democrats were able to get this in, is that President Trump's businesses, and for that matter, any business controlled by any government official, I believe, will not be able to get money as a part of this stimulus package, which again, I don't know if that speaks to sort of the power or the urgency of this whole situation.
I knew you were going to bring that up, and I think that's an amazing provision, and I think it's terrific that it's there. I don't want to over politicize this, but there is obviously massive distrust about the Trump administration because of all the examples of self-dealing that we know about. all the people who are spending money to stay at Trump's hotel in Washington while they're seeking favors from the government at the same time. You could argue that this would be a good provision in a bailout bill under any administration, but it will add a measure of confidence that government officials, especially the most senior government officials, are not sort of self-dealing, that this is not a self-generated bailout for the Trump family and their friends.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.